most important thing that you can discover or learn, which is what I call your life's task. And the idea is simple. You were born as an individual, completely unique. The DNA that comprises who you are has never existed in the millions of years of evolution and will never exist in the future. It is completely who you are. Your experiences as you grow up from 1 year and on is unique in the world. Nobody ever in the past or future will have exactly your experiences, exactly your parents, etc. That marks you as an individual, completely unique. It's like a seed that's planted at your birth, right? And if you cultivate that seed, if you cultivate that uniqueness, you discover your life's task and you have success and power and money will come to you and your life will be fulfilled. And if you don't, to any degree, if you completely fail in that, then you're going to have the opposite. You're going to have a life of a lot of suffering and unhappiness and dissatisfaction. But the question always arises, how do I find my life's task? Robert, I really have no idea. The first thing I say is, it all depends on the level of your desire, which is true for anything in life. If you really, really want something, if you really love it, if it's really important to you, you will find the energy, you will find the answer. But if you're only kind of half interested in it, if you're only kind of teased by the idea, if you're intrigued by it, it's not enough. You'll never have the energy to go through the search of discovering your life's task. So I tell you, you have to love this idea. You have to love that unique person in you as if it's like an actual human being that you love. You're falling in love with it, you want them, you want to pursue it. It means a lot to you. You also have hate, because hate and anger is a very powerful emotion. You need to be motivated to this. What do you hate? You hate all the other influences in your life that are distracting you from your life's task. You hate your parents for telling you this is what you should go into. You don't hate your parents, but you hate them telling you that this is what you should go into. You need to become a lawyer, you need to become a doctor, you need to do this or this. Get rid of that. Get out of my life. Get that bullshit out of my head. You hate peers who are telling you what's cool, what's interesting. You hate all the crap on social media that's filling you with what trends are, with what other people are doing, with what other people are interested. That's your enemy. The enemy is what people are trying to tell you what you should be interested in. So if you're able to generate that kind of love and to see clearly the enemy, then the life's task can kind of flow to you in a kind of nice, fluid manner. Now, the other thing is, as I've told in many other talks before, I do a lot of consulting. And the main problem I have with people who come to me with issues, and it's not to fault them because we all have this problem, is they don't deal with specifics. They kind of deal in generalities. I don't know how to deal with people. I've got this partner and I don't know what's wrong with them. I don't know how to get my company and my group energized, etc. I'm trying to say, look, I need details. I need specifics. Don't focus on the big picture. Give me the details. Give me stories of what people are doing. Give me stories and details about what you've done and your frustration. I want to hear the little grains of sand, not the whole ocean of what's going on, right? People have a very hard time focusing on it. Well, it's the same thing with your life's task. It's not going to be Robert Greene wakes up and he's 9 years old and he goes, I want to be a writer. I'm going to write books. It doesn't work like that. So you're not going to be able to find that in your past. What you want are little details, little signs that reveal something essential. So if I look back on my own life, I know it sounds a bit narcissistic, but it's easy because I know my own experience. I don't know yours. When I was about 9, 10 years old, I was in 4th grade. I remember very distinctly. I remember the day very distinctly. My teacher, Ms. Fiore, she put on this new game for us on the blackboard. She wrote on the blackboard the word carpenter. I still remember it vividly. And she said, how many words can you spell out of that word carpenter? Something went on in my brain going, whoa, what an exciting, fun game. You mean you can form words out of other words? That is so interesting. I remember the word that I first formed to this day was the word ant. And I go, wow, you could form the word ant out of carpenter, weird. I also remember I formed the word crap, and I don't think she was very happy about that. But anyway, I ended up winning the contest because I was so excited about it. And what that showed to me was I was fascinated with words. with just the look of words, the sound of words. And I was, something about it just excited me in a primal way that you can't explain. And then I remember, it's a very trivial, stupid story, but it revealed something about my relationship to language. I remember I wrote a short story shortly thereafter, an embarrassing short story that if ever got published would shame me to death. It was about the first humans that appeared on the planet and the vultures that are observing them. The story was written from the point of view of vultures. But here I was trying to generate stories from an early age. And then I remember I went to Hebrew school as a child, preparing for a bar mitzvah. And the letters, the Hebrew letters, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. They were like poetry. Learning the sounds of it was difficult enough, but the shape of those letters was so beautiful. So words, the look of words, the sound of words, the putting them together, the stories, they fascinated me, as did books. I often ask people, what is the thing that you wanted to do the most on your own? If you could close your door and get away from your parents, which all children have that desire for, what is it that you would do? And for me, whenever and this happened a lot, I would close that damn door and I would get out all my books and I would just read and read and read and read and read. These are the little signs that revealed that Robert, very young Robert, had a love of language, that writing was something that would be a natural fit for him. And then, of course, I went on an adventure that I described in my TED Talk about how I ended up writing the kind of books that I write. But that gives you an idea of a little bit of the process. It's a book that I love and I highly recommend called The Frames of Intelligence by Howard Gardner. And basically, the idea is there are 5 forms of intelligence that he kind of signals in his book. And he says that everybody has a kind of tendency in their brain towards that kind of intelligence. And just very briefly, there's words and linguistics, like I mentioned for me. There's music and musical pattern, which is an obsession with sounds for their own sake, and melody and harmony and all these other things. There's mathematics and logic, which is numbers and the ordering of things in logical fashion. There's spatial intelligence, which is something I failed miserably when I was a child, which is actually looking at images and figuring out how to manipulate them in your brain, something that Nikola Tesla was probably the greatest genius at. People who end up in engineering or who are visual artists often have that. And finally, there's kinetic intelligence, which is the body, which is, just basically the love of moving your body and having an awareness of it. I would add another one, which is social intelligence, the love of getting along with people, of empathizing with them, understanding their world. The idea is that your brain has a natural inclination, just look at it as kind of going down a hill, and that your thoughts and ideas incline in that direction. They incline towards words, towards sounds and music, towards spatial organization, towards logical ordering of things, towards moving your body, towards people. Whatever. There might be even other grades of this or whatever. Okay? And it's not like I want to be a mathematician when you're 6 years old, or I'm going to become a physicist. It's these little things that reveal that you have this kind of inclination, like I had towards words. And I ask people to kind of dig inside themselves and to find little stories when you were a child of those particular moments that will reveal some kind of excitement that you had in relation to something that might seem trivial. There was the story of Steve Jobs when he was 6 years old and his father was taking him through the streets of Sunnyvale, California, and he passed a store of equipment of like cameras, stereos, etc. And his eyes got wide open. Wow, just the beauty of the objects, just the metal, the components, the shininess, how they were designed. He just was fascinated with them. A very trivial moment in his life, something that was kind of just glossed over in his biographies, but for me, revealed one of these things that I'm talking about. So you're a detective looking in the interior of your childhood, of your early years, for those kinds of details. People will say, well, Robert, I don't have anything like that. I'm sorry, I'm lost. I can't remember anything like that. They exist. You're just not looking enough. You don't have You're not spending the time. You don't have that desire for reaching it. You're not writing every day in a notebook about what they could be. You're not looking hard enough. They are there. There are moments where you felt so excited by something you could barely control it, and there was a kind of a pleasure in it. And so even if, let's say it was music that excited you, even if you had to practice the piano day by day, a rather boring task, you found practice actually kind of fun. These are signs of what I call your life's task. So that's the process that you want to go through. And in my book, Mastery, in chapter 1, I give you more details about how to look for it. But once you discover it, it's like gold, and everything will open up for you. Hopefully, if you're young, if you're in that golden range of 18 to 25, and you're kind of searching, you will go through this process in a deep way, and you will find what that is, right? If you're older, the process is a little different and a little more difficult, but still very important. And the idea is, once discovered, you're going to have some adventure. You're going to explore. All right, I want to be a writer. Oh, okay, I want to get into music. Oh, I want to start my own business. You're not going to be so tunnel vision and just go into one job, into one thing. You're going to experiment. You're going to have some fun. You're going to have some adventures. You might travel. You might do things, but you're always kind of focused in that general direction. If you're a writer, you're reading books, right? Et cetera, et cetera. If you're an entrepreneur, you're starting little businesses here and you're learning about them. By the time you're 30, you've tried 4 or 5 different things, and now you're ready for some kind of creative explosion, right? But this is the key thing in your life. And it's once you discover it, everything else will open up for you. So just learn the lesson of the most important thing that you can do in your life is to know who you are, really, to sum this all up in simply. To know what makes you different, what makes you unique, what you love that's different from what other people love, right? And I tell people when you're older, continually create lists of things you hate and things you love, and look through them and analyze them and go, is this because what other people are telling me to hate and what other people are telling me to love, or does it come truly from within? So this process of finding your life's task is not just about your career, it's also about your mental health, about discovering who you are, what makes you unique, so you can become acquainted with your own desires, your own impulses, and not so controlled by what other people are doing and thinking.